Hi, my name's Karen. Now, some of you know that I've been working with international non-governmental organizations active at the United Nations for more than 20 years now. In that time, and because I'm an anticipate what's coming kind of thinker who also wants to do something about what is coming, I recently wrote a book called United Nations Unlocked: The Missing Link the UN Needs to Tackle Global Terrorism and the Coming Tech Tsunami. Now, this book was published in November of 2016, and it became an Amazon bestseller in a couple of categories. Okay, so not quite New York Times bestseller, but it was still a thrill to hit #1. The book was all about how and why to upgrade the UN so it can function well in today's world, one that is a far cry from what worked when the UN was first founded in 1945. 6 months after my book's launch, I was contracted for a 6-month project by the UN's top IT officer to adapt this visionary thinking to how the UN's ICT network, that is, the network of chief information officers of the UN system's 31 organizations, could leverage their technological insights and practices to help lead needed change in that institution. With that project complete and leaving the doing in their capable hands, I'm now focusing on applying the methods outlined in my book to intractable problems in the UN's crime prevention and criminal justice arena. Since I've been working with the Alliance of NGOs in Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice since 1999, and I'm currently the Alliance co-chair, I have a chance to enable the Alliance to create and not just talk about a new model for multi-stakeholder engagement. Today, governments cannot handle transnational organized crime alone. All stakeholders, including those in academia, in institutes, as well as those in the nonprofit and private sectors, need to collaborate responsively to growing and often transnational forces. Now, while transnational organized crime perhaps sounds distant, its realities are not. Human trafficking is huge in the gateway cities, such as the San Francisco Bay Area where I now live. Corruption is still alive in our town halls and our places of business, and they are not only part of the way it works in Washington, Moscow, or Beijing. Violence against women and other vulnerable individuals is probably happening in houses on our own street. Cybercrime undermines democracy and enables the perpetrators of some of the worst atrocities to continue largely unchecked. And we still need to find better ways to counter online recruitment and training of violent extremists at home and abroad. Whatever we may do to protect our own families can be quickly undone when our places of work, our community institutions, our schools, our governments, and their ways of working are not equally secured. So, consistent with what I outlined in my book, I want to show how certain kinds of strategic partnerships are both possible and impactful. We just have to use what we already have available to us differently. To do this, I'm gathering 5 volunteers to work with me on a project that we're calling Solve 2018. And to get this model in place and functioning, we have preparations to make, plus we need to get to Vienna for the week of the United Nations 2018 Crime Commission, because it's in that environment and parallel to that whole event that we want to make this work. Now, this is where I need your help. I can usually get myself to Vienna, but to take the next steps of showing how small teams of focused, energized people can make an enormous difference in critical areas of United Nations work, I need this small team, and they need your help. Implementing a new partnership platform is a significant stride forward, so whatever you can give will help this happen, and it will encourage us. I have added below a rough breakdown of the budget that we expect will be needed to pull this off. And your contribution will help offset our volunteers' travel, perhaps an Airbnb stay or two, sprint and printing supplies, meals, and so on. We plan to list all sponsors on our site and in our materials, that is, unless you want to remain anonymous. And one last thing before I close with a big thank you. I'm hoping that you might consider any contribution that you give as your legacy of sorts. Helping this kind of adaptation of a critical social institution can lead to changes for many people for many years to come. The leveraging of small but strategic shifts capable of lessening the gap that is growing these days between the pace of change in our technologies and the pace of adaptation of our critical social institutions. This work is urgent. Please do check out the Alliance website for more details about Solve 2018. And again,